breast on my baby. Triple weight, couldn't weigh the love I got for the girl. And I just wanna know why you ain't been going to work. Boss ain't working you like this. He can't take care of you like this. Now you're lost, lost in the heat of it all. Girl, you know you're lost, lost in the thrill of it all. Miami, Amsterdam, Tokyo, Spain, lost. Los Angeles, India, lost on a train, lost. Got on my buttercream silk shirt and it's Versace. Hand me my triple A so I could wear the work I got on you, girl. No, I don't really wish, I don't wish the titties were sure. No, have I ever let you get caught? Lost, lost in the heat of it all. Girl, you know you're lost, lost in the thrill of it all. Miami, Amsterdam, Tokyo, Spain, lost. Lost in India, on the train, lost. She's at the stove, can't believe I got her out here cooking dough. I promise she'll be whipping meals up for a family of her own someday. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong with the lie. Nothing wrong with another show ain't right. Through the sky, you and I are lost, lost in the heat of it all. Girl, you know you're lost, lost in the thrill of it all. Miami, Amsterdam, Tokyo, ain't lost. Los Angeles, India, lost on the train, lost.
Had a long day, I need a good nap. Don't quote me, but I'm about to kick back. Who said that? Don't call me, I'm a little busy at the moment. My bed just called and baby, I'm about to go in. Who needs friends when you got that smash, bros? Tell me, baby, who needs friends when you got that hash, though? It's good enough. Trust me, I'm fine, I'll be alright. How can I be low when I'm so fucking high? Ooh, just like that, that's just how I do. Yeah, love it when you're jumping, it's so cute. Bitch, I feel so sexy, feel so cute. Alright, and if you don't agree, you get the boot. Yeah, 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 you get the boot. Yeah, yeah, you get the pick it up, baby. I know that you fit, so just move a little bit. Bring it down low to the floor, cause I really do know that you shaking that shit. Every single thing I spit is a motherfucking hit, just to put it out there. If I left your bum ass in the past, I ain't going back there. Yeah, I'm on the pirate ship, feel like I'm running this bitch. I ain't no local artist, set us apart, I dope the hardest. If you don't like me, then that's fine, shut your bitch ass up. Yeah, last year we could've been signed, but they dumb as fuck. Ooh, we gon' make it anyway, and it's true. You told me that I should walk in your shoes. Give me something more interesting to do. The last thing I'll ever do is be you. I love my life, love my friends, love my hue. I love my friend, love my guy, love my crew. You just a clone, you a fucking Mewtwo. I need some Cocoa Puffs cause you cuckoo.
Hey y'all.
Hi everybody. Hi everybody. My name is Trevor and I am an organizer with March for Our Lives here in the state of Florida. Before I pass it off to Alyssa, I just wanted to introduce today's action and today's live stream. Before we get started, I do want to call attention to our March for Lives Wisconsin team, who are hosting a direct action right after this call, calling into the state of Wisconsin to demand justice for Jacob Blake. And I'll pass it off to Alyssa.
Hey y'all, this is Alyssa. I'm one of the state organizing directors here in Florida. Super excited to have y'all on this live stream to talk about art and activism and how they both intersect, and how young activists and community organizers in Florida are using their art to express themselves and further their message. All right, let's get right into it. First, we have a dance from Laura Campoverde.
24th. 1 month and 10 days after the deadliest high school shooting in American history, students across the country march for stricter gun laws. The same day, the NRA releases a video entitled "A March for Their Lies," telling Stoneman Douglas students that if their classmates had not been shot, no one would know their names. And the question becomes, why do we march? When school shootings have become an American promise, when the Second Amendment chokes bullets into bodies, we were not taught that students could become soldiers at any time. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We march because those words are worth more than our lives. Because those who defend them do not know our names, how our mamas know to hold us close when pistols rejoice in the night like martyrdom is the best some of us can expect in life. We march because I no longer feel safe in school. Because the other day we had a lockdown drill, and as my back was pressed up against the wall, I was waiting for shots to ring out. Blunt, like the promise of freedom. The way politicians take NRA money and hand us back bodies. We were never taught the sound of gunshots. We have never been asked to write a eulogy. We march because instead of marching, I want to be worrying about grades and homework and tests. And it's frustrating, you know, that this poem sounds like an ode to assault rifles because somewhere in America, someone says they love their guns, and my body becomes a false prophecy, becomes a canvas, dripping police siren, red, white, and blue, red, white, blue, because it's your guns that got Nene, that got Trayvon, that got Renisha, and I repeat a prayer in my head, hands up, don't shoot, hands up, don't shoot. We march because I learned long before high school to fear bullets. Before Columbine, before Sandy Hook, before Stoneman Douglas. We are not marching to take away your guns. We are marching for our lives. So watch us, because there is power in our footsteps, and the streets will ring with it long after we are gone.
Hey y'all. So if you guys, want to pledge to, using your power, our power to continue to make change in our communities, whether that be voting now in this current election or future elections, or organizing in your communities, make sure to take the Our Power pledge. I'm pretty sure we dropped it in the chat. It should be marchforourlives.com/ourpower. So go take the Our Power pledge. Next, we have a spoken word performance by Raquel Perry.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with your liberty and justice for all. Justice for all. Justice for... To be a black girl in America is to arrive with the blood of our black brothers slaughtered on our hands, laying down another, still begging for our lives to matter. They'll say, okay, but what did the suspect do? You know, you shouldn't ask that question if that person doesn't look like you. And to be a black girl in America is to hold cookouts in Oakland, stand by a corner store in Brooklyn, mind our own business at Starbucks, and find the joy of living here, even though we're still mad about what happened to Trayvon, Antoine, Eric, Ahmaud, Gregory. The list goes on. We keep seeing black men serving time for crimes they don't commit. They sit in cells, their lives they can't persist, resist the fist. But now who's got the pistol? One blood, one shot, like body like a crystal. How do you say world peace when you're tearing us to pieces? I said, how do you say world peace when you're tearing us to pieces? I don't understand how we're supposed to raise our boys to be 6 feet tall when they're dragging them down 6 feet under. The moment Big Brother leaves the house, we hold our hearts in our hands, and the moment he comes back, we heave a sigh of relief. America, is that what you've wanted? Because my brothers and sisters are lying dead on the streets when we're victim laid off their feet. How am I supposed to explain the pain about this country of the inhumane when you won't lend an ear to hear my fear towards the life of my people? Then what is your idea of justice?
Wow, I think we can all agree that that was very, very powerful. That was from one of our organizers, Raquel Perry, an organizer here in March for Our Lives, Florida. Next, we have a spoken word poem, again, by BK from Dream Defenders.
Hi, good evening, y'all. This piece is entitled Headlines. It was initially written after the death of Tamir Rice, but I edited it. I rewrote it or re-edited it once Parkland happened. So this is to honor the lives of those who lost during the Parkland massacre. Headlines. A youth was shot today. Can you bear the image of families weeping on the South Lawn, mourning on display, trauma-worn, a permanent broke, mothers cradle wombs in agony, yearning for heartbeats, facing reality of a world broken. A youth was shot today. A mother's bun, a father's core, your little sister's best friend's little brother's cousin was shot down. A youth today had a gun shoved in their face as they rode their bikes up, guns down, as they protest for their lives because vigilantes terrorize no matter the weather, no matter the day, be it MLK or another. You know, they couldn't have pulled their guns any faster. They couldn't have called them niggers any quicker, be it Miami, Parkland, Sanford, Duval, even DC, be it the city or the burbs. Can you calculate the weight of loss? Can you account the amount of blood spilt? Can you map the red rivers of blood soaked upon this land, fertilizing our trees? You see, sadists play chess upon our backs. They line us up like pawns, assemble us into leagues. No, do not make a sound. Do not take a knee. Just watch them all fall to the ground. Watch the play-by-play. Watch them dying, mourning. A youth was shot today. Can you hear their cries? Thank you.
Hey y'all. Okay. Thank you so much, BK. That was very, very powerful. I'm always amazed when I, see new poems, new artists that I've never seen before, because the message is so powerful, and it definitely hits home. So thank you for that. Now we're going to have some remarks from Romina from United We Dream.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to March for Our Lives for inviting me. And what an amazing performances that we've been so lucky to watch today. I'm so honored to be part of this incredibly important conversation. So my name is Romina Montenegro. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the Florida Advocacy Fellow for United We Dream, the largest immigrant youth-led network in the nation. At the very core of the movement, we pride ourselves in leading through youth who are directly impacted. As a DACA recipient myself, I have been an avid activist for years. I arrived from Argentina to the United States when I was 2 years old, and since then, my home has been Miami, Florida. I remember being young and knowing that my entire family was completely undocumented and at risk of being deported to Argentina. It was never a secret between us, because if we didn't know, then we could potentially put our families in risky situations. Without valid U.S. driver's licenses, my family members feared for our safety every time we got into our car. A simple traffic ticket could have had devastating results for us. Where in this situation, the police could have easily handed us over to the ICE agents. Even as a child, I remember my family being cautious always, as we went everywhere without any sort of identification that didn't belong to Argentina. At age 15, I remember finally being able to be a DACA recipient and saving up enough money for a lawyer to help us file the paperwork plus the hefty DACA application fee. Since then, I've seen the differences be day and night between having some sort of protection from deportation, whereas before filing for DACA, I was completely undocumented and afraid of being deported and separated from my family. The attacks to the undocumented community have been very prevalent for years now. However, one attack that has directly affected me was when former General Attorney Jeff Sessions announced that the DACA program would no longer be as it once was. That was a pivotal moment in my life where I learned that being undocumented and afraid and silent was no longer a viable option for me. I knew I needed to use my voice and share my story. And from this moment, it changed me to be the vocal activist that I am today. I'm still a DACA recipient, undocumented, but unafraid this time. I learned that I have power where I can be vocal about how these past few years have brought on anti-immigrant policies that have attacked not only DACA recipients, but the entire undocumented community across the entire nation. And despite DACA recipients' victory at the Supreme Court a couple of months ago, we continue to fight against the threat of deportation, even in the middle of a pandemic. Florida, one of the most impacted spots in the country, has seen serious repercussions to this disastrous federal and state responses to COVID-19. I'm proud to stand with the rest of the youth throughout the country who are rising up to meet this moment and make sure that everyone, regardless of immigration status, can live free and thrive. Even though I cannot vote, the decisions of young voters in the U.S. showing up this November will impact not just my life, but immigrants across the entire country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Romina. I know that, speaking on our experiences and coming into these spaces and sharing our stories isn't always easy, especially when we're talking about such heavy issues that are so personal to us. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Next, we have some remarks from Francis from the Florida Immigrant Coalition.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. Florida Immigrant Coalition, March for Our Lives, for the opportunity to be here actually speaking to all of you. So my name is Francis. I came to the United States when I was 6 years old, raised in Miami, Florida. I first got involved with the immigration movement when I was 16 years old, after seeing all the injustice and the stigma against undocumented people, including my family. I saw the obstacles early on as a student, from being rejected to go into the university to obtaining like a driver's license. I could not even apply for a job related to my career. I knew that this was only the beginning. And so I thank God for the opportunity given to me and getting to know various organizations like Flick Votes, where I learned about my rights. And in 2012, along with other dreamers, we were granted deferred action. Many students were able to benefit from this, including myself. And I'm proud to say that I obtained my degree in international business and business administration. I was finally able to apply for the job that I wanted, I purchased a vehicle, I started my own business, and now as a business owner, I admire how my parents, were able to continue the hard work and how they did this for the future of my brother and I. To me, they're the true entrepreneurs. But I've noticed that this administration has tried to remove deferred action, and they're trying to criminalize us and my parents. I will not allow that. I feel like there's so much more that we can accomplish. And I know that the Supreme Court was able to stop the removal of DACA, but even now the administration is still trying to restrict us. I know that this issue will be brought up in the upcoming elections. And let us not forget those who have taken his side, like the Florida Governor DeSantis and the Miami-Dade County Mayor Carlos Jimenez. I will continue to strive for my community and continue to fight for those who still do not have a status. We pay our taxes, we contribute to our society, and we love this country. This is our home. And I know that more than 90% of Americans want a permanent solution for dreamers. We must vote for those who want to improve and unite this nation. We are the future, and we have a chance to shape it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francis. Thank you. I know this conversation isn't over. We're going to continue having these conversations, and I know that all of our speakers are going to continue to use their art and their voices to speak on their experiences. So now we're going to transition into our panel to discuss these topics a little bit further with some of our performers and our speakers. On our panel, we have Camille, Romina, and Francis. The way this panel is going to work, I'm going to pose the first question to give people watching a chance to, form some questions, put them in the chat. After that, though, I'll be looking to the chat to get some questions to ask our panelists. So yeah, we can get started right now. All right. Thank you all for joining me, and thank you again for speaking and for being here with us. The first question I have for y'all, feel free to answer in whatever way you want. Don't feel pressure to answer all the questions. The first question I have for you guys is, how has your personal experience in art or in the immigrant community influenced your role as an activist?
I think I can go first to break the tension a little bit. So I think art is really just at the middle of the movement, I think. Art is what brings us together. Art is what speaks to our souls. Art is what really makes us understand a message much deeper than just simple words, I think. So as an activist, I think while I haven't really participated in art myself, I see these arts, I see these dances, and I see these poems, and it just really, really brings, more feeling to what simple notions are, like Black Lives Matter, March for Our Lives, United We Dream. They're organization names, but once you bring art to it, I think it brings a personality of sorts, and it really brings that narrative that we are people fighting to simply live.
Definitely, that was said wonderfully. Hey everyone, my name's Camille Martin. I'm with Voto Latino today. Thank you again to March for Our Lives for having our organization join and partner on this incredible event. When thinking about how art and activism intertwine, I think about intersectionality. I think, gun violence, immigration, they're both issues that are intersectional at their core. They're bound with the journey for racial justice, economic justice, whatever it may be. So I think it's also interesting to approach art in a kind of intersectional lens, right? Like, how can art be viewed and seen and perceived differently to different people? I think it's an excellent way for activists in particular to really use and hone in on their very important voice.
Thank you. Francis, anything to add before we move on? Next question.
I would say just that, music as well, it's a form of art. And I just feel like it just expresses a lot of our emotions. sometimes that we go through. And so, you know, seeing also like artwork and being able to portray that, just being able to express ourselves in that type of way, like Romina said, you know, not just reading the names of the organizations, but actually seeing what we're about. I feel like people are able to understand us better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys for that. And I completely agree. I think in all of our projects here in March for Lives Florida, our team, we really do try and give our organizers that opportunity to express themselves. You know, whether that be through spoken word poetry, like Rocky did, like Rocky performed, or making banners or signs for one of our events or something like that. I feel like that's always a big component because, you know, we're young. This is how we express ourselves, and sometimes we don't have the words to share what we're feeling or, you know, components of our stories. So thank you guys for that. So yeah, just moving on to the next question. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. But yeah, do you think that there's been progress here in Florida surrounding, you know, immigration reform and how immigrants are treated? And if not, do you see, you know, the upcoming election, or I guess this upcoming year, having some sort of impact on the issue? I think we can kind of go in this order. Romina, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I can't speak too politically on this platform, but I think one of the important things to talk about is in Florida, we are a red state. We've been a red state for so long, and it's been very difficult to push anything that can really bring forth any change for immigrants. So one of the biggest things that we're looking at bringing forward sometime soon, hopefully, is things like Real ID to help out the immigrants who are in Florida. As you know, Florida all around is a border state. You really can't go anywhere without reaching a border. And so we have a lot of families and undocumented people who are so at risk because there is no type of protection at all whatsoever. And I think looking forward to the future and these upcoming elections, we have a lot of political figures who are more progressive, and we're seeing Florida really working hard. We're seeing the youth pulling forth voting and coming in and bringing forth these progressive views, bringing in these very left views that really are going to bring a change to our communities and immigration, not just immigration, but also things like gun rights, and, you know, just all these progressive movements. So I think we can look to the future and really hope that there's a change because of the leaders of today.
Thank you for that. Anyone else on the panel?
I just feel like we, as you know, the youth has to continue to strive. Like Romina said, you know, we are a red state, and so we just have to continue to be outspoken and create this awareness. You know, especially for the undocumented community, and hopefully, you know, this in some way we can unite. But yeah, I feel like this is our time to be more outspoken about it.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, I think voting matters so much this election because your vote counts for someone who potentially can't vote, right? With that being said, though, a statistic that I recently learned is that 1 in 10 eligible voters this year, are immigrants, are recently naturalized citizens. So I think that just shows that, you know, voting does matter. And if we do want to create real change, I think we can do it by keeping our elected officials accountable.
Yeah, thank you for that. I love all those perspectives. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, progress is such a broad term because we're dealing with issues that are, you know, so large, and kind of when you mention them and when you talk about them, it's kind of hard to grasp like how we're going to solve these issues on like a widespread level. So progress sometimes can seem a bit deterring, but I think, you know, if we're continuing to advocate in our communities and for our communities at the local level, state level, you know, that makes a big impact. So yeah, thank you for that. like you said, Camille, voting is going to be very important this election, especially, down ballot races and whatnot. So yeah, I think I saw some questions in the chat to get us going. Ooh, I cannot scroll down. And I can't scroll down to see the rest of the question. All right, so I think Serena Rodriguez asked if, as people are watching this live stream, hearing y'all talk, what can they be doing at home to further the cause of immigration justice? I'm gonna keep going with this order. Romina?
I'm just going to ask you to repeat the question one more time.
Yeah. So, for the folks watching at home that maybe want to get more involved or want to learn more about the issue, how can they be working towards immigration justice or helping the movement?
Yes. I think what you said before about holding our current representatives accountable is an incredibly powerful statement. I think people really rely a lot on the future, on our future representatives, but I think our change starts right now. Hold your representatives accountable. Make sure that they don't get voted back in. I think it's really important to just really realize that there is the power of change right now as well, and just pushing these anti-immigrant policies that we keep seeing again and again come back to us and keep trying to push us back into the shadows. So I think, like I said before, pushing representatives now is also a very viable option, and holding them accountable for what they've done to destroy immigrant communities, or what they haven't done to protect immigrant communities enough.
Yeah, I would say also to join the movement, reach out to any organization that is working towards immigration and see what you can do to help. We also don't want anyone separate, we don't want people being separated. We don't want kids to be separated from their parents. And so I feel like there's just so much to do. But yeah, get informed, keep your legislators accountable, and just be outspoken. If you see something injustice, say something about it. And
yeah. Something you can do right now is request your mail-in ballot. If you're already right now, voting during a pandemic is going to look so different. And at Voto Latino, every other organization, I think every person just generally wants to make sure that everyone is able to cast their ballot and able to do it in a comfortable and safe way. So the deadline to request your mail-in ballot in Florida is the 24th of October. With that being said, don't wait. Do it right now. Do it tonight if you can. Be sure that you're ready to vote. Be sure that your family members are, your friends are. I think, it's just so important. I can't stress it enough. I think I bring it up in every text thread I'm in with friends, or whatever group chat I'm in, whoever I'm with, have you requested your mail-in ballot yet? So I think that's a really great actionable thing you can do today.
Yeah, thank you all for that. And I'm just going to reiterate what Camille said. I mean, we want to be sure that we're securing safe and healthy ballots for the election coming up. So request your mail-in ballot as soon as possible tonight, right after this. All right, so we're going to ask a couple more questions before we end the panel. If you have, a question to ask, put it in the chat. I can't scroll down, but I will be looking for them. So we have another question from Ronald on Facebook, and I think we kind of touched on this, but what does immigrant justice mean to you?
And I'll go ahead and start again. Immigrant justice is, making sure that we're all living freely without any borders. It's making sure that no families are being separated. And I'm not just talking about the kids. There are so many people in detention centers currently who are right now testing positive for COVID-19 and really going through harsh conditions inside these centers. I think it's about it's a movement about bringing forth freedom for all of us to be able to move as we please, do as we please, and not suffer any repercussions just because we decided we want to live our lives freely.
Yeah, thank you. Francis, Camille?
Yeah, no, I feel like also to be recognized, to not be discriminated, to not be put down just for the basic fact that you don't have documentations. We are humans, we're all equal. Like, we should be treated the same. And just like she said, Romina, it's not just kids, it can also be like parents, like, there's so many people out there being affected, and that they're struggling right now. So we need to take that into account. Yeah, especially right now during this pandemic.
Definitely. I think, if anything, immigration justice is completely reimagining our current system that fails so many individuals and has unfortunately failed folks even more during a pandemic. Incredibly said by Romina and Francis. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but there are so many incredible hearts and minds that are in this fight that I know, will hopefully yield something great.
Yeah, thank you all for that. Thank you. So yeah, I think we're gonna ask the last question before we move on from the panel. I just want to thank y'all again for hopping on, for being here. So the last question I think is one that's really open-ended, one that I like to hear from anyone that we have, join a panel with us, join an event with us. So what does your vision for a perfect future look like? And what do you think it's going to take to get there?
If we're talking about immigration, it's a place with open borders. We don't need borders to let us know where we can live and where we can't live. I think it's looking forward to a future that, again, we just don't face any repercussions for wanting to live, freely. We want to be able to be able to freely move wherever we want to move, freedom to live and freedom to thrive. I think that's what a perfect future would look like. And in terms of more general, like including March for Our Lives, including for other progressive movements, I think reimagining the future, reimagining the present would be like the best way to just like burn it all down and start again from scratch, taking into account these communities who have always been more targeted than anybody else. And that includes undocumented community, that includes Black communities, that includes people of color, et cetera, et cetera. So I think making our future better involves starting from scratch and making sure that these people who have always gotten scraps, who have always been the last in line, are prioritized.
Francis, Camille, anything to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, again, equality for us, like for the undocumented people, and like in health insurance, just to be recognized as a community. We are humans. We do want to be. We do love this country, and so, just to feel a part of it. I feel like that would be one of the biggest things for me. And just to be able to strive, like we want what's best. Like I mentioned, starting a business here, seeing my parents, like knowing that there's so many other immigrants being able to do that, but they can't. Everybody's restricted right now. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for me and for people, that you just feel like you have so much potential, but yet you can't do anything about it right now. So, yeah.
Camille, you want to end us off?
I want to thank you all for doing such incredible work in Florida for your community. I think what gives me drive to work in the space that I do is the work of others, right? I'm definitely an observer. I would say I love to hear and learn people's stories. So thank you to you all for really, pushing to see real change in your community.
Yeah. And I'll just piggyback off that, not even speaking as an organizer, but speaking as a young person who comes from an immigrant household. It's it's very, I feel very proud and very happy, having the opportunity to speak to y'all and hear from y'all. So thank you guys again for hopping on with us, Camille, Romina, Francis. Y'all are doing great work, and I really hope to see y'all in the future. Everyone who's watching, feel free to stick around. We're gonna have Manuel Oliver hop on in a minute. But for now, I think we're gonna take a break. Oh, there we go.
My name is Manuel Oliver, and I was born in Venezuela. I moved here with my family 20 years ago, and I became an American citizen 2 years ago. And I lost my son Joaquin during the Parkland shooting. And I already had reasons to go ahead and vote to find solutions for this country, for my new country, the country that I decide will be my country, Joaquin's country. I decided to start bringing my voice out there before I lost my beautiful son Joaquin. But now I have another reason, stronger reason, to go out there and vote. To vote for Joaquin. To be loyal to my best friend and my son. I think Latinos should be loyal to other Latinos. We were very brave in our countries. And for some reason, once we move here, we kind of accept anything that they tell us to do. It's about dignity. We lose dignity when we move here because we're treated like just a minority that will never show a loud voice out there that will actually reflect into something better for this nation, the country that we decided will be our country forever. Loyalty, respect, and dignity. We have been called in very nasty ways, and I'm sick of that. I owe it to Joaquin. I don't get it. I don't understand how we're not offended. I don't get it, and I don't understand how we're not stand for those families that, just like us, decided to have a better future for their kids. And they're trying hard with that bravery that we have in our countries to move forward, to leave everything behind and start a new life. We own them because we are Latinos that can vote. More than 30 million Latinos can vote. That's a lot. That's a whole country. So we have to be part of this system. This democracy is asking us to be here to vote for the problems that we have in this country. I don't get Latinos that vote for X person so this person can solve the problems from your old country. That is not fair with the American system. You don't become an American citizen to vote for a president that can solve the problems from your other country. We have plenty of problems in here. I could write a whole list that deserve that we get out there and vote. Actually, we're the biggest minority in this country. We can make things better. We can make that change happen if we recover our bravery, if we recover our dignity, if we recover our respect, and we show it in our new country, the one that we decided will be our country forever. I owe it to Joaquin. But I had no one telling me this 4 years ago.
But you have no excuse. Because yes, you bring your kids to school every single day. I used to do that. And I can't do it anymore. And don't think that your kids are safe. And tragedies like the one that hit my home and my family won't happen to you. There is no guarantee. So you gotta be part of that solution. You gotta make sure that you respect and you're loyal to your kids. Because they're expecting you to do that. As a father, as a mother. So I'm warning you. I'm giving you an advice that no one gave me. Before it's too late, and before you regret, and there's nothing else that you can do, go ahead and vota. Dignidad, respeto. Vota por los problemas que hay en este país. Porque así te lo pide la democracia americana. So, just get out there and vote. It's your duty. When we move to this country, we move for the good, for the bad. But we can actually bring solutions by being part of them. Don't wait for others to solve your problems. And I guess if you're ready to vote, you should understand this message in English. If you don't, probably you should start practicing more English, because this is really important. Vote for Joaquin. He can vote. He was ready this year to go ahead and vote for his first presidential election. Vote for Joaquin.
Thank you guys. Thank you to all of our speakers, all of our performers, all of our panelists, and thank you to everyone watching today. I kind of just want to close off this event, this digital rally, just saying that I think Trevor kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but you know, as we're talking about these issues, we see them happen in real time. Yesterday, a black man was shot 7 times in the back by police in Wisconsin. His name was Jacob Blake. Sorry. Like I said, he was shot 7 times in the back by police. You know, regardless of the discussions we're having, regardless of anything, we will keep fighting for justice for all people. You know, we believe in money. We believe in moving money from police to communities because, you know, divesting in police and investing in our communities, investing in community intervention programs, investing in healthcare, investing in, you know, investing in our schools, investing in after-school programs. That's what's going to stop harm in our communities, reduce harm in our communities. So if you want to help us, if you want to join this movement, if you want to join this cause, help us advocate for people in our communities. Feel free to join our direct action. March for Our Lives Wisconsin is having a phone bank right after this call to demand justice for Jacob Blake. I think their @ is MFOL Wisconsin if you want to find the info, or you can text 954. You can text our power to 954-954 to join us in any of our upcoming events. Thank you all.